say breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and while that might be some marketing BS from the 1950s, for me, breakfast is a really great way to jumpstart my day, keep me feeling on track. But if you're like me, mornings are nuts. So between my husband getting ready for work, the kids getting ready for work, the dogs being full of energy, and me having to log on at 7 for my own job, sometimes making breakfast feels like a real scramble. See what I did there? I'm so smart. Anyway, so in today's video, we are gonna meal prep 3 breakfast recipes to help you get your day started on track. And if you're like me, avoid the bakery counter at your favorite coffee shop. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to my channel, give this video a big thumbs up, and turn on those notifications. All right, so for your meal prep recipes, it's just drink a cup of coffee. No. So what are we making today? We're going to make some Greek yogurt lemon poppy seed muffins. We're going to make a pumpkin oatmeal bake, and we are also going to do something that I think is going to be interesting but potentially very delicious, a butternut squash egg muffin. So when I was looking at breakfast recipes to meal prep, one thing I want to keep in mind is that with the new WW Personal Points Plan, we all have some new 0-point food. So whether you have oatmeal as a 0-point food or non-fat Greek yogurt, or you're really trying to limit how many 0-point foods you have but want a low-point breakfast, I have got you covered. Meal prep, whether you're on WW or another weight loss journey, all of these recipes are going to be super delicious. And we're starting off with the butternut squash egg bake. Now this is dairy-free friendly if you need it, if you struggle with lactose or you just choose to eat paleo or whatever. But we're going to start off by microwaving some turkey bacon. The recipe calls for bacon. I have turkey bacon, so there you go. And it calls for 8 slices, and so I will throw this on a paper towel lined plate. If I can count to 8, that would be amazing. I mean, it's a lot to ask for me. Math is not my favorite. And I will throw this in my microwave for about 2 minutes, check it. If it needs to be flipped over, I will do that and cook it for another 30 seconds. But you do want this to be just on that crispier side. If we are making butternut squash egg muffins, well then we need butternut squash. And so right here, I have 2 butternut squash. Now one of these I'm going to save for some soup, and the other one I'm going to scoop in to the carafe of my Ninja blender. That was a little like nails on a chalkboard. So I cut these in half, scooped out the seeds, and baked these at 375 for about a half an hour. Ooh, you can hear that bacon crisping up. And so I'm gonna just scoop the butternut squash into, I hope I didn't get any. Knowing me, I probably just got a little bit of skin in there. A little skin didn't hurt ya. So I'm gonna scoop that in there, and then we'll get the bacon out. So my butternut squash is all in my Ninja blender, and the next step is to puree it with the eggs. Now, I probably should have let the butternut squash cool a little bit more, so I'm going to puree that up just a little bit because I don't want it to curdle or scramble the eggs when I put it in. I'm also going to add just a little bit of salt. You can add pepper as well. Now this recipe comes from Fed and Fit, and I really love her recipes, but I will say that it called for a lot of eggs. It called for 18 eggs, and that is going to be a lot of breakfast because it makes 24 muffins. So I'm going to cut that down a little bit. And I also am going to use some egg beaters because I want to use some of this up. 1/4 cup equals 1 egg. So fill this up. That's about 4 eggs. And when I do this kind of recipe, regardless of whether eggs are 0 points for you, I kind of like to do half and half because there's so many good nutrients in a whole egg, but you know, you just want to be mindful of calories too. So that is 8. Now in this house, part of the problem is if I use all the eggs, then Mark has no breakfast because as much as I would love for him to eat this, he won't. Now I do have eggs at 0 points on my WW personal points plan. So with the exception of the turkey bacon, I don't have to count any of this. So this right here is 0 points, and then the bacon spread out over multiple muffins. I mean, you're looking at a 1 point breakfast, and I'm serious, like you cannot beat that. So my eggs are in here, and I am going to figure out how this goes and just whip this up. So we just have to fill the muffins with the egg squash mixture. I have a giant muffin pan right here and then just a traditional size muffin tin. So I will kind of see how these go, but I would probably eat 2 of these muffins anyway, so that's why I decided to go toward the giant muffin tin. And these are just sprayed down with some nonstick canola oil spray. And I will also share that my oven is preheated to 350 degrees. Now, if I count correctly, I'm guessing this is about 9 breakfasts. And so when you think about it, I had 8 slices of bacon, so only 1 piece tops per serving. So you really are looking at a 1 point breakfast depending on how you set up your 0 point foods and the WW personal points plan. We're just gonna put you a little over here. So we're gonna pop these in the oven, and I think they bake for like 25 to 30 minutes. Obviously the big muffin tin might cook a little bit longer. Okay, next up we are going to make the pumpkin oat bars. Now you have 2 options with these bars. You can make them completely gluten-free by making your own oat flour with oatmeal, but I'm going to cheat and I'm going to do a combination of the oats and just all-purpose flour. And this recipe comes from Iowa Girl Eats. I've followed her for ages and her recipes are always super delicious. Hold on, before making breakfast, we gotta drink some coffee. So our first step is to combine our kind of wet ingredients, which includes almond milk, pumpkin, and then I am going to use real maple syrup. I'm not going to try to cheat this. And then we have 1 egg, and then it calls for coconut oil, and I do not like coconut oil. I just don't. So we will use applesauce, and that will also help make this a lower point option because this is a recipe where all the ingredients are really wholesome and healthy, but it can be a higher point or higher calorie breakfast. And so we do want to kind of find that balance between eating something that has really great nutritional facts in terms of like micronutrients and other things, but helps us meet our goals. So we are going to start. Let's get this going. So first up, we're going to do a 1/4 cup of unsweetened applesauce. And I did just kind of measure that on the fly. Then we're going to do a 1/2 cup of our pumpkin puree. So not pumpkin pie filling, but actual pumpkin puree. I had bought a ton of pumpkin. I was going to do this whole video on like all these pumpkin recipes, and I never did it because I am super awesome. And then next up, we have, that's a lot. Where you might cut this. It calls for 1/2 cup of maple syrup. We're gonna tweak this on the fly. So we're gonna do about a 1/4 cup because also if I use all this syrup, then Mark has nothing to put on his pancakes, and that would be really rude of me. And so what we'll do is we'll substitute some swerve. So we'll do a 1/4 cup maple syrup, a 1/4 cup of swerve, and then if I feel like I need to add more milk to it, I will. And then we will add 1 cup of almond milk. If you caught this, I added this in like an order, so I only had to use 1 measuring cup because I'm super classy. I am choosing to use egg substitute, so about 1/4 cup of egg substitute. And then we're gonna just whisk this together. So I also forgot to add some vanilla, so I'll just do that. And next up is all our dry ingredients. So like I said, we're gonna use just all-purpose flour in place of the oat instead of scant 1 cup. So we'll do that. We also have 1.5 cups of oats. Geez Louise. So 1, and then 1/2. Okay, so we are also going to add dear Kim, learn how to read. 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. What? 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. I did just make a little bit of a mess, and I will apologize. I don't think the dogs are going to look up baking, so you never know. We also have 2 tablespoons of chia seeds. And one of the perks of adding chia seeds now, because WW Personal Points takes into account the fiber, that is just super helpful because chia seeds have tons of benefits and then all that fiber. So also 1 teaspoon pumpkin pie spice. I did not measure that. And then we're also going to do just a smidge of salt. It says 1/4 teaspoon. And I just did that. And we're going to just stir that together. You do have the option of adding 1/3 cup of chopped pecans. And I actually had gotten a ton of pecans in a Kroger click list order. So I'm just going to whisk those in. And can you imagine how delicious this would be to have on like Thanksgiving morning? It's like you're prepping the turkey if you plan to cook this holiday season. And be sure to tell me in the description box down below what your plans are for the holiday. And also that egg bake would also be really good if you think about it, because butternut squash is such a good fall flavor, and that would be something easy that you could eat, you know, that morning. Like that butternut squash, and then this would be such a good breakfast to start your Thanksgiving, and then you can kind of indulge without like feeling stressed out. So this goes in the 350-degree oven. I will tell you, this is a time I love having the dual temperature oven because this is just amazing. So 2 recipes down, 1 to go. The Greek yogurt, this is so hard to say. The Greek yogurt lemon poppy seed muffins might be the recipe I'm most excited about because I just love having some muffins in the freezer. So if I want that as a mid-morning snack, I'm not tempted to just run out to the coffee shop. And that saves me calories, points, money. So starting off with 2.5 cups of flour. Now this is probably where most of your points are going to come from. But I am modifying, because this is a traditional recipe that I am totally modifying, so it could be a total mess. Next up is a cup of sugar, so we are substituting Swerve. And I noticed this got a little, we're going to open our new bag of Swerve. We're going to get our new Swerve on. I'm excited because I don't have to count the Greek yogurt. And I think that's just going to be so delicious. And then next up, we have 2 tablespoons of poppy seeds. 2 tablespoons of poppy seeds. And then after this, we're going to do 1 tablespoon of baking powder. Just kind of wipe that off. That's a lot of baking powder. And then we have 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And that is it for our dry ingredients. We are now going to add our wet ingredients. So we are making this lighter by using applesauce. Again, unsweetened applesauce for the oil. And then next up, we have 1/4 cup of Greek yogurt. This is Greek yogurt. No, it's almond milk. And why am I baking with almond milk? Because I have it. And if I don't use it, it will just go bad and I will throw it away. But I always have like high hopes for like using almond milk. Next up, we have 1 cup of non-fat plain Greek yogurt. So we'll get this open. Oh my gosh, like what am I doing? It's like I'm a frat boy cooking. Seriously, like. So the last thing we need to do, well, second to last, add the wet ingredients to the dry. And this does feel a little bit dry. So we might add just a little more milk and applesauce. We'll see. So this just feels just a little too dry to me. Now maybe that's the recipe, I don't know. But we're adding just a little more almond milk and a little more applesauce. And then the last thing we really need to do before we put it in the muffin pans is add the zest of 2 lemons. We're just loading up our muffin. I use muffin liners because I just cannot stand trying to get muffins out of a muffin pan, and I don't have the silicone. I'm just not interested in that. Maybe this makes me old school. I don't know. However, I have to tell you, this mix smells absolutely insane. So, so good. It even drew in the little kids, and then they were like, oh, we might not eat that. So we'll finish up. And the one thing with this is they do bake at 425 for 5 minutes, and then you drop the temperature. Our breakfast meal prep is done. We have our Greek yogurt lemon poppy seed muffins, our butternut squash egg cups, our pumpkin oatmeal bake. And these are all things you could eat throughout the week or freeze. I already have a freezer bag full of the lemon poppy seed muffins to freeze. I will probably cut this into probably 10 bars and freeze half of them. The rest I'll keep in the fridge. And then I'll freeze about half of the egg cups. And this is just, again, a great way to get your morning started on the right track so you're feeling good about the day, but also just to make your day a little bit less stressful. Maybe you're like me and it takes your kids 30 minutes to get shoes on. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. And if you like this kind of video, be sure to let me know and give me a comment down below. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications. And until next time, do something you love.